With the hopeful overturning of Roe v. Wade right around the corner, half the nation's states will soon pass heartbeat bills and outright bans on prenatal, life-ending procedures. These policies are crucial for rebuilding a culture of life, but this is just the beginning. Today we will be talking about 3 pro-life policies that nobody really talks about. These will be crucial in helping us rebuild a culture of life in 21st century America. The first measure we must implement after outlawing infanticide is to outlaw surrogacy. Think about it. We as pro-lifers want to see children live happy lives, and one of our key arguments is that adoption lets children live out their lives even when their birth parents don't want to take responsibility for them. So why on earth do we allow surrogacy then? There are already plenty of children in need of good homes, but instead of doing the right thing and adopting them, we allow women to rent out their wombs and sell their children. Not only is this immoral from a Christian context, but it's impractical from a utilitarian one. These children need homes. We should be encouraging adoption, not selling professionally grown babies like crops or slaves. This topic has a lot to cover, so trust me, we'll get into more depth about it in a future video. The second policy we need to lean on to encourage a culture of life is natalism. Natalism, broadly defined, are policies which promote the family and childbearing. Natalism counters the current culture built upon GDP and replaces it with one built around family. We need to recognize the grave importance of motherhood in our nation. Stay-at-home mothers cannot continue to be treated as second-class citizens in our society. The corporatists want women in the workplace, not the home. They care about women so much they will offer to freeze their human eggs for female workers to defer their motherhood, and even pay for the slaughtering of their children in the womb. Women working instead of homemaking grows the labor force, deflating the value of labor. These are very simple concepts of supply and demand here. Twice the supply means half the demand. Half the demand means that wages are nearly half of what they can and should be. If wages were higher, families could be supported on a single income again. Not to mention the grotesque corporate formula also introduces the child's caretaker or nanny into the economy to feed the GDP and continues to help corporations pay their workers less. This system deprives children of valuable time with their parents. This is not how God intended our families to be raised. The Orban family growth policy has been widely successful in Hungary and should serve as a model for something similar to be implemented here in the United States. Hungary's Family Protection Action Plan gives newly married couples the option to take out a government loan of up to 30,000 euros. This loan is meant to help the couple get situated, place a down payment on a house, and be able to start the process of building a family. If one child is born within 5 years of the loan, the interest is forgiven. If a second child is born, the deadline is extended another 3 years and 30% of the total debt is forgiven. If a third child is born, the remaining debt is forgiven. And if a fourth child is born, the mother of those children is exempted from personal income tax for life. They don't view this program the way we view current welfare. They don't view it as socialism. They view it as an investment into the future of their country. Another natalist option is to follow a system more similar to Poland, where mothers receive some amount of money per child monthly, under the stipulations that that couple remains married and that the husband is actively employed. Something like $300 to $500 per child per month, maybe capped after the 5th child, would do wonders in helping families afford to have more children, reverse our collapsing birth rates, and also make the prospect of having a child far less terrifying. We aren't trying to make motherhood pay like a full-time job, but coupled with the other policies listed here in this video, it will help return the value of homemaking and the family back into the culture. Most importantly, it will discourage infanticide, as 72% of women who seek that prenatal life-ending procedure do so out of fear of the cost of raising that child. Less desperate, these new mothers may now decide to choose life. Lastly, if you visit Hungary, you will inevitably see state-sponsored propaganda, billboards and posters encouraging people to get married and start families. This is quite different from here in the United States, where our propaganda is focused on encouraging children to mutilate themselves so they may never have kids of their own.
I only have one question. Why do you want to put an axe wound in between your son's legs?
A stark difference between a nation that has the culture of life and one that does not. The final secret pro-life policy we're going to talk about today is protectionism. Okay, let me guess what you're thinking. What the heck does economic trade policy have to do with creating a culture of life? Well, let me tell you, at the core of this policy is the question, how do we make it easier for families to be able to thrive off of a single income? Before globalism and feminism, any man with a high school education could find some type of work that allowed him to eventually support at least himself and a spouse. Now, our economy is vastly different. People think they need to go to college and that both parents need to work just to make ends meet. Why is that? Because we've allowed all the jobs that these men used to do to be exported to other countries who allowed for practical slave labor. Instead of American men working in American factories supporting American families, we now let China pay some child an unlivable wage just to do the same job in their country. All so we can have cheap t-shirts and knickknacks. Our economy used to be an industrial manufacturing powerhouse. Now our economy is 70% service-based, most jobs of which require college degrees. So I guess people who aren't interested in going to college may just be screwed out of ever being able to afford a family. Protectionism places a tariff on foreign-made goods and incentivizes manufacturing jobs to come home to the United States. American-made goods help put food on American families' tables. This is a central tenet of America First, and why people like Mike Lindell, who choose to make things here in America, are so beloved by American working-class families. We need to tariff foreign goods, allow energy to be harvested from American soil again, and even regulate technology if it threatens the American family. Tucker Carlson put it perfectly.
I don't worship capitalism. I worship God. Like, whatever, I'm a Christian, but leaving that aside, this is not a religion. It's a mechanical, you know what I mean?
People can have better
structure.
lives.
Exactly right. But if your system is making it impossible for my children to get married, then I'm totally happy to set your system on fire and blow it up.
If some technology like self-driving trucks is going to put thousands of men out of work and therefore collapse thousands of American families, the only policy that will protect those families and preserve a culture of life is to regulate that technology. We need to have an economic policy that puts American families first, not the corporations. This is the key for a true culture of life to flourish in America again. So, what do you think? Have you ever thought about these policies as inherently pro-life? What else do you think we should focus on to help promote a culture of life here in America? Are there any other pro-life policies we should think about after Roe v. Wade is hopefully overturned later this month? Comment them down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in our next. Take care, and God bless.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
Let's go!